Okay, Kim, did I do everything right this time? Can you see Fabulous Fridays on there?
Yes, it looks good.
All right. Well, we'd like to welcome everybody to the seventh of our Fabulous Fridays program. And we really do appreciate the sponsorship of the Montana 4-H Foundation, as well as the Montana 4-H Center for Youth Development. Yay for those two organizations. And today the topic is going to be, I think you'll find interesting, hope so anyway, is selecting an attorney to help you with your estate plan or also help with the settlement of an estate, which we typically call probate. My name is Marsha Goetting, and I am the Family Economics Specialist with Montana State University. And I'm a part of that section of the university that we take the university out to the people of Montana. So we're really looking, well, this person is looking forward to getting out again and being able to see you. I had a session on Wednesday evening, and I actually got to see the participants. And that was really exciting because it's fun to see people's reaction. I find that if I can see people, and Kim, she's nodding her head and she's agreeing, it makes a real difference if you get to see the people and what they're thinking. And sometimes, you can just look at someone and you know that you made a concept as clear as mud. So you go over it again. And Kim here is our co-host. And Kim comes up there from Toole County in Shelby. And she has, you see her there with Champ, and that's one graduation photograph there. And I'm sure we're going to see another one in not too long, and that'll be exciting as well. This is Carrie. Carrie Hayes is the person behind the scenes. Carrie is the one that sets up the event. She's the one that does the website. I mean, we couldn't do this without Carrie. So I want to recognize Carrie for her assistance. And then today we have a special guest we'll be talking to at the end of the program, and that is Emma Jobson. She is with the 4-H Center on Youth and Development and specializes in the area of natural and agriculture resources. So we're eager to hear from her. Well, we're all the way up to 176, I believe. Oops, got too carried away there. I want to welcome all those 176. And I was looking a little more closely and I thought, we almost have a tie between Missoula and Gallatin County for the number of people that are participating. So a shout out to all you folks that signed up. We also want to give a special recognition to our out-of-staters. It's kind of fun to have folks from someplace else that feel like what we're doing in Montana is worth signing up for. And Kim, I think it's time for you to talk about our audience engagement tools that we want to use today.
All right. Well, as always, we'd like to offer you the opportunity to write your questions in the chat panel. We will stop our webinar and answer your questions when you have them. We will also like to remind you that we will be remaining in our WebEx room for 15 minutes after the webinar to answer any questions that you have. So we'd like to start out with our audience engagement tool with our first poll. So what actions did you take as a result of last Friday's session? Did you read the Mont Guide about the Montana Endowment Tax Credit? Did you review the beneficiary designations on my IRAs? Did you change the beneficiary designation on my IRAs? Did you use the new IRS table to compute the RMD for my IRA for the 2022 tax year? Or did you do something else and explain to us in the chat room what you did? You can also click more than one and make sure to hit that submit button when you're done.
Glad you remembered that submit button. That is so important because we really do want to hear what kind of actions that you're taking. We know life gets in the way. I mean, my schedule this past week, I was kind of going, blah, 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 and getting that feeling that my mom used to say, are you meeting yourself coming and going? Uh-huh. It's been one of those weeks. And I'm sure you have them there in Shelby as well.
Oh, yeah. All right, what do we have for answers here?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing those. And we're just waiting here for Carrie to get those up so that we have a chance to see what people are doing. You know, we could have one of those little TikToks, or we could play music,
Like
but
Jeopardy.
something tells me that Carrie has run into trouble with this particular one. So we hope you're taking action. And what we'll do is just move on and take a look at this slide. Did I share this one with you, Cam, or is it new? Oh, we do have results.
I don't think have seen it, but let's go over the results real quick. Okay, so 18% read the Mont Guide, and then 18% reviewed their beneficiary designations. So that's good. That was tied. 4 people, or 11%, said something else, but hopefully they'll type in the chat what they did and let us know. Cool.
Okay, and just speaking of the IRS tables, we had a couple of people in the chat room or email me that, well, they went to the IRS website and what they found were the old tables. I know, even though you put it in your little browser that you want the 2022 versions, what you're finding is the IRS is just a little bit behind. And so what I found is that they do have a draft of their publication so that you can go to that, and there's more tables there than you'd ever want to see. But also there is, we have on the Fabulous Fridays website, just an example there that you can just click on the link and it'll take you directly to the uniform table that I was talking about. But if you're really interested in going through all the rest of those tables, they're in that publication. So go to our fabulous website that Carrie has designed and get that information there.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that last slide, or were you kind of covering that?
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, cool. All right, so as always, if you answer our trivia questions, the winner that answers the question first and correctly will receive 1 free wildflower note card. And Marsha takes these pictures herself, and she does a wonderful job. They're very beautiful. So our first trivia question is, how many attorneys were in Montana in 2021?
Since we're talking about attorneys, I thought that would be a logical question to ask. And you might be surprised at the result.
Yeah, there's a lot more than I thought.
Shh, don't give away the answer.
I will not. All right, so Marsha, you are the wildflower enthusiast. How can we use wildflowers as engagement tools?
Well, I've been having a lot of fun with this of using wildflower names. And today I got to admit this particular program was challenging, but I was surprised that there are certain flowers that you can use a name with and it helps remember things. For example, here's our steer's head. This is the one that you find, boy, in a couple of months, it'll be available in Yellowstone National Park. And look at where the geysers are if you happen to be out that direction. Don't step on them. They're really small. So I want to steer you to a discussion about your estate planning goals because it's very important to get those together before you go to the attorney. If you and your spouse or your partner are discussing that while you're with the attorney, you know, it takes a lot more time. And why not do all that before you get to the office? And then we want to share with you some of the qualities that you want to look for in an attorney to help you with your estate plan. And then also some of the attributes of an attorney that would help you with a probate. And this business of selecting an attorney, the reason the Mont Guide came about is because what I found when I do a meeting, there is always somebody there, if not during the meeting, but after the meeting. Marsha, I'm looking for an attorney in Miles City. I'm looking for an attorney in Bozeman. And of course, as a state employee, I cannot recommend any specific attorney. So my alternative approach is to have a Mont Guide that provides the information and the information that we have today. Now, this particular flower is called a butterwort. And I didn't even realize that this particular one is called a carnivorous one. And I call that a complex flower because of this business. Well, let's not think about it of, you know, an insect landing on it and it goes slurp, slurp, yum, yum. Moving along. Now, what my co-author on this particular publication is Ed Eck, or Edwin. I always call him Ed, and he's an attorney, but also he was the dean of the law school at the University of Montana. And as we worked on this, he was just adamant that the more complex the assets that you have, the higher level of competency of the attorney. And so, for example, if you are one of the 0.02% of people that are in a federal estate tax bracket, well, you're going to want an attorney that really does deal at this higher level, because it probably means you have all kinds of extra assets. So I put up the amounts there to let you know that if you have less than 12 million, you don't have to worry about the estate tax. Now, that almost used to be the top of the list. What is your estate planning goal? Minimize taxes. I don't want to pay a death tax. There's all those kinds of issues. And a married couple, though, today can have $24 million and not worry about the estate tax. Then let's say that you've got some complicated retirement systems. Well, that's going to require a higher level of experience of an attorney, so that the attorney knows about 401ks, 403bs, 457s, and at the government level, they have the TSP programs. So there's a lot of knowledge base that needs to be there. And of course, if you're involved in a farm or ranch business, hey, you want your attorney to know about S Corps, C Corps, limited liability companies, partnerships. I do get questions all the time also about, well, which entity should I use? Should I have an LLC? Should I have, and you know, we've got a mock guide that just has the basics, but when it gets right down to the nitty gritty of that, you've really got to have some legal assistance to help you. And then some of you are land barons, and you might own some property in another state or in another country. Well, that just adds to the complexity if you're going to do, or no, not if, when you're going to do some estate plan. So the more complex assets you have, the higher level of competency that you want to see in your attorney, of course. Now, how about complex family, Kim? What does that have to do with selecting an attorney?
All right. So, this slide you already had about working with Edwin Eck, the Mont Guide co-author. He said the more complex your family, the more competence in estate planning you'll want your attorney to have. So we have this chart that looks like a normal family, but with death and people passing away, decisions may change after folks have passed. So we will be using the ghost flower to help us work out this complicated family. So we have the husband of the family that has passed away, and it looks like it's a yours, mine, and ours situation. And his daughter-in-law has passed, and it looks like his wife's grandson has also passed. So this could be complicated down the road if the family is looking for a lawyer. So some examples of a complex family are single with a family or with no family. It might be a couple in a long marriage with all of the kids that are theirs. It might be a couple with no kids. It might be a blended family, yours, mine, and ours situation. It could be a 4, 5, 6 generation on the family farm in Montana kind of situation, which we see a lot here and with extension. Your lawyer might also want to be aware of a family member with disability, and they might also need to know about special needs trusts and ABLE savings accounts. And ABLE stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience, and this is a savings account where a disabled person can have a savings account and qualify for benefits. And if you want to know more on that, we have a Mont guide for that, and it is located on our Fabulous Friday website.
Yeah, and Kim, the amount of this just went up this year Previous, the amount of savings was 15,000. So those of you that are working with able accounts out there, the amount is increased with the amount of the gift exclusion, and now an disabled individual can have $16,000 in an account.
Nice. Good to know. We would also like our attorney to know about trusts, and that could be a revocable or living trust. It could be an irrevocable trust, a testamentary trust, an A, B, or bypass trust, a Q-tip trust, a Q-dot trust, a QPRT trust, and a charitable remainder trust. So we'll take.
I'm sorry, there's more than
you're
that,
good.
but I just have a short list there to give people an idea that, it's just not one or two kinds of trusts, and there's really a lot to know about them. And I know a little, but not what you'd expect an attorney to know.
So we will take our tips from our ghost flower, and that the more complex your family, the more competency your attorney needs to have. And all attorneys are different, so make sure that you know what you are working with. Our next poll question is, have you utilized the services of an attorney for an estate plan? Yes or no?
Oh, that's a fast one.
What do we got?
Okay.
About half and half.
Mm-hmm.
So 29% said yes, 29% said no, and 42% didn't answer. So maybe next time make sure that you answer our questions. So our next slide is the chocolate lily, and Marsha told me that she found this near a Doug fir. But Marsha, what does a chocolate lily have to do with selecting an attorney?
Hold that thought. I'll get there. Okay, so just so you guys know, we do have a publication that's called Estate Planning in Montana Getting Started. And one of the things that we have is a checklist in there about what my attorney should know. Because what I was finding when I first started this position is that people were going to the attorney, and then the attorney would tell these folks, well, I want to know this, 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 and this. Well, why not know that before you go there? Why pay the attorney X dollars per hour to tell you of information that you could do ahead of time? Well, since that time, what I'm finding is that the experienced attorneys that are working with people on an estate plan, they're going to send you their format, and they're going to say, these are the things that I need to know. And just for example, for real estate, they're going to want to know the type of property, where it's located, when did you buy it, what was the cost, and very important, how is it titled? And I had one attorney share with me that he was working with his dad on estate planning. So his dad said, well, I have my property as a tenant in common. And so, he trusted his dad. Well, as he went along, he found that, this is after dad died. No, dad didn't have that as a tenant in common. It was joint tenancy. And at that time, the federal laws were a little different. There was the estate tax on an estate that size. And the attorney said, I have learned, don't even believe your family. Go ahead and make them fill out the forms so that all the information is correct. And same way with some of our financial accounts. There's just those kind of details. And this is actually good information to have for your heirs, because they want to know where the checking accounts are, whose name's on the titles. And I would add to this particular one now, is there a POD on there? Remember, we were talking about payable on death designations. Well, the attorney should know which accounts do you have those on, so that, in writing the will, he can inform, or she inform you about, hey, the will won't control those items. And then if you've got a mortgage, you know, there would be the details about that. How much do you have left to pay, when it's due? Is it a joint debt on the mortgage, or is it just one of the spouses? Then your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and those kinds of things. The attorney will want a list of those assets. And remember the basis that we talked about in one of our sessions. What is the cost basis? What did you pay for it? So that there can be that opportunity for the value to be stepped up when you pass away. So here it comes, Kim. Get ready, drum roll. Spend time organizing your assets and give yourself some chocolate as a reward. I told you I'd get there. Now here we have a desert monkey flower, and I couldn't resist sharing this particular one because when I did see it in California, I go, you know, that really looks similar to our monkey flower in Montana. So what does the desert monkey flower have to do with selecting an attorney?
All right, so the desert monkey flower reminds us to not monkey around with your family and discuss write down your estate planning goals. And this can be getting the farm and ranch on the same page or making arrangement to come back to the family farm or ranch. Those are all really important questions when you are talking about farming and ranching. So we have a mod guide on this. It is estate planning in Montana getting started. And again, that will be on our Fabulous Friday website. So this slide will be going over our common estate planning objectives. And we have 20 examples for you. Provide security for your surviving spouse. Provide security for an incapacitated spouse. Assure continuity on the farm, ranch, or other business. Provide equitable but not necessarily equal treatment of your family members. Minimize probate and settlement costs. We have another poll question for you. Have you utilized the services of an attorney for a probate? Answer A, yes, or B, no.
So you notice I didn't have Kim go through all 20 examples of objectives, but it's really a way for you as a family or as a couple first to talk about really what is it you're wanting to achieve with that. And that's really where planning starts. And again, do it before you get to the attorney's office. All right, we got a quick one here, and look at that.
Yeah, it looks like 54% said no, they have not utilized the surveys of an attorney for probate, and 22 said yes, they have. Nice.
Okay,
Good
so
job
we've
answering
got
the questions.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes. So we will take a tip from the desert monkey flower. Decide your estate planning goals and objectives with your family. Our next flower is a spiderwort, and I bet that you can't make spiderwort relevant to the topic, Marsha.
Oh, now Kim, I like a challenge. Actually, I've had this wildflower for several years, as you can tell by the date there, and I go, oh, that was so pretty. I wonder if there's a way I could use it. And then so I looked up spider, and you know what I think about spiders is it's really bad. The only good spider is one that's dead because they give me the creepies. Well, what I found out is there's a software program and they call it a spider that travels through the web. And what it does is locate and index things for search engines. So there, Kim, that's how I got it to work. So we're going to examine some internet directives or directories that evaluate attorneys. And one of these that I've seen in several resources is called AVVO. And you could go to this particular website and you can see I did a run there for Bozeman, and it has estate planning lawyers, So you'll hear lawyers, you'll hear attorneys, and each has their own preference of what they want to be called. And so it said that we do have 24 attorneys, but we only have 3 reviews. So I admit, from my perspective, I was a little bit disappointed because I thought, whoa, finally we'll have something there that rate the attorneys. So try it out and look in the community that you're looking in and see what might be available. Another
looked
one
up
is
Shelby.
Martindale. I'm sorry?
I looked up Shelby, and we had 5 attorneys, and they were all the ones that I know of, but they had no reviews. So bummer for.
So you're saying, if you had 5 in Shelby, then we've got to look at some other ways to figure out which of the 5 do we want to go to to handle our estate or to handle the probate. So I did find another one, and several attorneys had recommended this one as well. It's formerly was called Martindale Hubbell. And when I went there, I just saw Martindale. So I figured, maybe Hubbell was bought out or something. But it talks about the attorneys. It does do a rating, and I think you'll find more ratings there for the attorneys. And they're rated by their peers. So it's not necessarily the clients that rate them, but attorneys. And, the truth is they kind of know one another. They've been around a while. And the only ones that wouldn't be like that are those that are fresh out of school, that are just getting started in the business and figuring out, do they want to be criminal law? Do they want to be estate planning, transaction law, as they call it? So you can look at their rating for ethical standards, and you're going to preferably look for 4.5 or above. And then the Montana State Bar does have a referral system. It's not a rating system, however. It's attorneys that have said, yes, I practice in estate planning. And if somebody calls the State Bar and wants a recommendation, then here, it's not really even a recommendation. There's a lot of disclaimers at their website, but it says, here is an attorney. And basically they could say, yeah, they have passed the State Bar for Montana and they're licensed to practice in our state. So I gave you that phone number there. And if you decide that you would like to experiment with giving them a call because you don't have a computer, for example, to make a search. Of course, you wouldn't be watching today, I guess, if you didn't have a computer. Marsha, think first before you talk. But there might be somebody out there that you could give that phone number to, like mom or dad that don't have a computer. And then the thing I also found, of course, in this day and age, you've got to have a website for whatever business it is that you're offering. And almost all the law firms and the attorneys do have websites. And at these, they have a photograph of the individual. They also provide a very short biography of the individual attorney that's there. And so I thought, well, this would be a good time for a trivia question. How many attorneys are in the largest firm in Montana? Okay, so give your answer now. Don't cheat by going to the web and seeing if you can find the answer really quick. No, you wouldn't cheat or do that, would you? Okay, so how many attorneys are in the largest firm in Montana? Now, when you're looking at your biographies and the things that are at the website, if you want to focus on estate planning, you're going to look for this terminology, of course. Estate planning is part of that. Estate administration services, probate, taxation, wills, and trusts. Those would be some clues that this particular attorney does do estate planning and probate. Then the additional things they provide is, their undergraduate degree, where they got their law degree. That's, important to some people. I've had the pleasure of meeting several that have their master's degree in tax law as well. And I got to say, those individuals are smart cookies. The certified public accountants, several have both. And so if that can be helpful if you're in a federal estate tax bracket, or you have several businesses in your farm ranch operation. You know, I ran across one that had a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, and a partnership because they had different units of that particular farm and ranch. And so, whoa, challenges there. They'll also give their professional experience, and I found quite a few are community-minded, and they don't mind letting you know that they're serving on different boards of the community, that they are doing things locally. So that gives you that sense of, oh, okay, this person just does more than law, that they're really a member of this community and assist. Now, for some of you out there, it might be important as to whether or not the attorney does publish. I know here in academia, that's just an expected thing that you do. Well, maybe you don't really care that much about it, but there are attorneys out there that publish in law journals. They also do articles in the Montana Lawyer, and that is sort of a newsletter magazine type thing that is published by the state bar. I've also found there's quite a few attorneys out there that have blogs. And I hadn't thought about attorneys writing blogs, but what they do is when a new law is passed in the state, or sometimes at the federal level, they'll just write an article. I prefer, blog is such a name, but it's an article about the new law, you know, like the digital assets law that we've got, or, oh, Montana legislature has made a change in probate fees and things like that. So those are things to look for while you're looking on the web. They also have, most of them, an online form, and that's the boxes that you see where you list your name and then you indicate in the box what it is that you want to ask them or you want to see them about. Some do provide an email. I've also found some don't. And usually if they don't, it could be an indication that they really do have enough clients. And so they're not out there being real visible because they don't have time to take on another one. And then some will also provide the phone numbers. So those are some things that we can find. Now, this one's important to me. When I started doing work in the estate planning area, I went to the state bar and said, I would like to have a group review the information. I had worked with an attorney, bless her heart, good old Ada Harlan from Helena, and she taught a class here at Women's Week, and she told me that I should approach the section on taxation and probate. So that's what I did. I went to a meeting. I was green as a gourd, brand new to Montana. And here I am going to these attorneys saying, I want you to review the Mont guys. Well, I was a little bit embarrassed because they kind of laughed at me. And the reason was there had been a publication that was done previously, and it was written not so well, and it was written in the first person. And anyway, the end result is, yes, they formed what they called a public service committee to work with me in reviewing the publications to make sure they're legally accurate. So that group is expanded now, and it's called the Better Group. It's business, estates, tax, trust, and real property section. And if I'm going to deal with an attorney that says he or she is doing estate planning, I want them to belong to that group. This is the group that gets out there and offers continuing legal education programs. I go to those. I see what other attorneys are there. They have meetings at the State Tax Institute, and so that's my usual opportunity to thank them for reviewing the publications. So I want them to be a member of that group. And quite frankly, if you're dealing with an attorney that doesn't know about our Mont guides, I seriously question whether or not they do a lot of estate planning, because that group knows what Extension's doing. That group also makes those publications available sometimes in their office. They just give them to people, say, read this and then come back, so that people are more informed when they reach the attorneys. And as I said, they do review our publications. There's some national things that an attorney can belong to too, and typically they'll list this at their website, and that's like the real property trust and estate law section, and that's with the American Bar. And the American Bar also has a website that the public can go to and receive information, but typically it's more general, it's not state specific like ours are. And then there is the American College of Trust Estate Counsel. That's a nonprofit, and there are attorneys that belong to that particular group as well. It doesn't mean that they have to, but it's a choice, and that might influence whether or not you're interested in that particular individual. So I put the website there so that you would have a chance to take a look if you want to do that. So I'm just kind of curious, have any of you here taken a look at the web and checked out an attorney by going to the web to see what that attorney has up there? So you can answer yes or no, and don't forget to hit that submit button way down at the bottom of the page. While they're filling that out, Kim, I hear that you used to work for an attorney. Is that true?
Yeah, in my summers between college, I worked for the lawyer's office in Cut Bank. Peterson and Shores was their name. And we did a lot of probate documents, a lot of wills. They also do taxes, so they are pretty busy right now, I think.
Yeah, I bet this is not a time to be necessarily looking for an attorney because of tax season, because there are attorneys that do those for their clients. Well, Kim, it looks like we've got here 33% that have gone to the web and checked out some attorneys. So at least now you know that's an option out there for those of you that haven't done something like that.
Yeah,
The things you can find on the web now.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Kim?
I said they should be on the web by now.
Yeah, yeah. And you'll find, I hate to use age as a thing, but all the younger ones, they have all kinds of stuff. But even if they're not, quotes, young, they've got somebody in that office that knows how to do some of these things. And that's very important as we discover more and more things. Now, the other thing is looking at referrals. And quite frankly, this is probably one of the best ways to find an attorney. I know when I moved to the state, I wanted to know about a doctor. I wanted to know about a dentist. So what did I do but go to friends and colleagues and say, who would you recommend? What has your experience been with that? Now, you can also visit with your local banker. And the banker may give you, they walk a fine line about making recommendations because they don't want to lose your business, but they don't want to lose the business of the attorney if they said, well, my experience was not positive with this person. So just keep that in mind. It's not their fault. It's just the way things are sometimes. Your credit union professionals may know of someone as well, and financial planners. Now, the thing about financial planners is we have a lot of people out there saying, oh, I do financial planning. And Kim, I want to see that they've got their CFP, Certified Financial Planner. There used to be only 3 of us in the whole state of Montana, but now there's a lot more out there. But I have a better understanding, because I've done it myself, of what is required of the financial planner. And the financial planner looks at more than just estate planning. They're looking at your total financial life, if you want to think of it that way. Life insurance, investing, even the money management aspects of getting your financial act together. Your accountant, if you have one, may have an attorney recommendation as well. And don't forget, those people at your office or work area would know of some attorneys and could recommend.
Marsha,
And yeah.
you have a question. Where can we find a list of the better members?
Okay, you can call the State Bar of Montana and ask them that question. I'm not sure that they have a list that they make available for the public, which is probably something I should write down and ask myself to do. So let's call. And I tell you what I will do is I will check that out between now and our final session next week and find out if they are indeed making that available, or do they just have a short list of several attorneys that they keep with this other list that they're doing. Okay. And you know, we've kind of reached the day and age too, where sometimes people don't want to be on a list because they don't want to be hassled, or they don't want, you know, somebody to know. It's like you guys, we're giving you privacy. Nobody can see that you're participating today except us. The chat room is available to you, but we're the only ones that get to see that. And so that's how we can assure you that you can ask these kinds of questions, and we're not going to go out to the world blabbing that so-and-so from Ekalaka had a question about this or that.
Marsha, someone
Mhm.
did say that it's now statewide because now they are all online.
I'm sorry?
Someone mentioned that the better members are now statewide and it's all online at the site.
Okay, I know that the members can access one another, but I wasn't sure that the general public can. So like I say, I will check that out and see what the status is with that situation. Now, another thing, when we find a friend, you know, like if I was going to ask Kim about her experience in working with the attorneys, or someone else, I would say, well, what did you think about your experience with the attorney? And I want to hear more than, oh, they liked him or they didn't like him. It's why. What was there about the attorney that we really need to know? So explain that. And then we can go to the yellow pages. I mean, that's not ideal, but it still can narrow the field on who's out there. So clues to look for: estate planning, estate administration, wills, trusts, elder law is another area. So this is the tip from the Spider Board: is first go to your friends and relatives and ask about those. Take a look at the yellow pages, examine some of the internet directories, and visit some of the websites of the people that you come up with, and get a feel for that individual before you get to the office. So Kim, what does the pink owl clover represent?
So the pink owl clover reminds us of symbolism that people think of when they think of owls. They symbolize wisdom, intuition, independent thinking, and they are observant and listen and are thought to listen well. So when you're scheduling a meeting with your attorney, be sure to be attentive and practice observant learning like the owl. So you're going to want to ask the lawyers what types of experience they have. Have they worked with family businesses? Have they worked with farm and ranch issues? Have they worked with Medicaid or disability issues? Have they had any experience with charitable gifting, blended families, or quarrelsome families who threaten to sue? And it can get messy.
You wouldn't be quarrelsome, would you, Kim?
No, never. Maybe my sister.
Ah, okay.
So you're going to want to ask your lawyer what they specialize in. What % of your practice consists of estate planning and estate administration? Marsha told me an example yesterday of an attorney that said they specialize in less than 10% of estate planning. So maybe you don't want to go to that guy. But like we said before, everyone's different. But make sure that you ask how much they are involved in estate planning. So maybe ask also what documents the attorney can prepare for you. You might want to get a financial power of attorney, a healthcare power of attorney, a will with a reference to separate listings of personal property, a revocable trust, a transfer on death deed, or consent for release of electronically stored information. You might also want to ask what their timeline will be. Like we said, it's tax season right now, so they might be really busy, but make sure that you ask when your documents will be done. Hopefully it should take like a month, maybe. The attorneys that I worked for had a really quick turnaround. If you went in to visit with them, they would have me type up your documents, and hopefully the turnaround would be around a week. So ask them what their timeline is. Marsha, do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, this was an individual that I met when, pre-COVID out in communities. And this man came up to me and explained that his wife had just died last week. And I was surprised to see him at this meeting. But he was really wanting some information about probate, of course. And one of the things he shared with me is that, yes, he and his wife had gone to an attorney, but that was 6 months ago. And he kept calling the attorney saying, we need to get these documents done. And the attorney never got them done. And she died before they had a chance to even look at the documents. So I felt that was really sad and inappropriate. And I said, maybe it's time for you to find a new attorney. And of course, that's difficult when you've already invested a lot of money and time in one individual. But I think most attorneys out there would say they have a responsibility to respond to their clients and do that in a timely manner.
So those are some of our tips from the Pink Owls, Clover. Schedule a meeting with your attorney, prepare for your meeting, and practice observant listening. We have our next trivia question now. Who is the 5th richest attorney in America? And this is a good one.
Yeah, Kim appreciated that one when I told her the answer. Now, don't go to the web again. Make sure you just give a response real quick.
So, Marsha, there is no way that you can make this flower relevant. It is the bloodroot flower for selecting an attorney.
Yes, but don't I like a challenge? Because really, I want to get to the root of the matter.
Oh.
Brown. Okay, so after we meet with that attorney, what we've got to do is assess our thoughts and feelings about this meet and greet. And attorneys will often say the very first meeting is just a chance to get acquainted. They may say we can meet for 15 minutes to an hour. And really, they're assessing you in a way that you're assessing them. Do I want this person as a client? Is this person going to be calling me up every 2 minutes? Well, let's get a feel for them. So you're doing the same thing. And were you satisfied with the attorney's answers to your questions? Did the attorney really practice listening to you, look you in the eye, so to speak? I had one attorney that I was meeting with, and it's just like the person was staring off to the side. And I wanted to take his head and go, I'm over here, look at me. But it takes us a while to get used to those kinds of things. But if the attorney did use any legal terms during this visit, were those explained? Did the attorney use right of representation, per stirpes, devisees? Those are some of the things that we're just not that familiar with. And I think the attorney should be cognizant of that and explain those. And how about those fees? Those are really important. We want to know how they're going to calculate the fees. And this was the old rule. We had a maximum on probate fees that became the standard across Montana. And it was simply percentages of the value that goes through the estate. Well, the attorney would receive 1 1/2 times what was calculated to the personal representative. And, some things take a lot of time, some things don't. And that's why the legislature's changed, and now the fee must be, quotes, reasonable. So is it reasonable hourly fee? Is it per document? what kind of system is the attorney using, and one that's been around for a while should be able to tell you exactly how they go about doing that. And then let's be honest, if we're going to establish a relationship with this attorney, we are probably, it may be a life thing if they're really good and they do good with us. We want to feel comfortable enough to share things that happen, in the future, there may be a situation where, oh my gosh, after 32 years, you're getting a divorce. Well, that wasn't in the works, but now maybe your attorney would recommend someone else to handle that because they do specialize in estate planning. So I would like for you, or I guess I should say we would like for you, to describe your experience with an attorney in just a sentence or two in the chat room as we wrap up here, because I want you to get to the root of the issue and really assess your feelings about the meeting with your attorney. So our lady slipper, our time has slipped away, and we encourage you, if you don't have a memory like an elephant's head, we've got those 50 month guides that are available for you from the County Extension Office, but we also have tried to list the appropriate ones at the Fabulous Fridays website. And Kim also has those in her office as well as the rest of the county offices. So keep that in mind. We need to answer the trivia questions. So how many attorneys were in Montana? Wow, 3,183. I guess I didn't expect a number that high, but there it is. The largest law firm in Montana has 175 attorneys. So I guess you can figure those are not in Ekalaka, right? Who's the fifth richest attorney in America? Well, according to the thing I looked up is Judge Judy. And it was funny because my husband had just been talking about her and her wealth, and lo and behold, turns out, yeah, she's not too bad off. So our last session is next week, and what we're going to look at is accessing a deceased person's financial accounts, whether they're PODs, TODs, they don't have a will, or they do have a will. We'll talk about that next week. And if you haven't had enough of me, you can go and participate in Wisdom. We're going to do that on April the 6th, May 11th, and June the 8th. So we do appreciate your participation in our webinars. And what Carrie is going to do is put up an evaluation and an opportunity for you to check the kinds of things you think you'll be doing as a result of this program. And then we want to thank you for taking the time to respond to those. And I would like to give you a little bit of time to do that, because last time we had our speakers start immediately, and we had some folks that said, hey, hold the phone, I want to answer this, and then I want to hear the speaker. So our speaker, Emma, can start getting herself ready. And we do have Emma here, I hope, right?
I'm here.
Oh, good. I couldn't see you on my person screen. Okay, Emma. Well, I think that we've got Kim that's going to ask you some questions today, but we just really want to say thank you for joining us. And I see you've added wildflowers to your office. Cool.
I have, yes, I have. And I have my Marsha original note card right here as well.
Oh, okay.
So those are very cool, the trivia prizes.
Okay, Kim, what are you going to ask her?
All right, well, let's start off pretty simple, I guess. Emma, what is your position with for Montana 4-H?
Yeah, so I am the Ag and Natural Resources Specialist for Montana 4-H. So I oversee the events within those disciplines. So the largest ones are generally the livestock and horse events. But my background is in plant and crop sciences. So one of my primary initiatives has been increasing enrollment and programming for more of the plant science side of agronomy.
As a fellow plant nerd, I appreciate that. What has been your favorite project so far?
Yeah, so I'd say the main thing I've been involved in has been the horse events. And I grew up with horses and showing horses. And even though professionally I've been involved in plant sciences, I've really, really enjoyed jumping into the horse 4-H world. I think it's a really awesome project that gives kids an opportunity to show and grow as a person without being super focused on uber competitive horseback riding. And just the life skills that anyone can learn by taking care of a horse, and literally learning to get back on the horse when you fall down, is just really great. And just seeing that kind of growth, and the enthusiasm of those participants has been awesome.
Yeah, our horse family that I have in Shelby is pretty awesome. They're a good group of people. What are some of your goals as a 4-H specialist?
Yeah, so as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm trying to increase programming on the plant and crop sciences side. So this year we introduced these ag science kits, which I have all my props right here. And I just picked up a whole box of seed to ship out with those. So we're trying to make it more accessible for kids who come from families that aren't on large farms to still be involved in an agronomy-based project, so they can still explore small grain crops or pulse crops, and they don't have to be coming from a farming family. I'm also really excited about, we're trying to increase a beekeeping program here. We've gotten a lot of local interest and regional interest from specialty groups that say we need more youth programming for pollinator health. So I think that'll be coming through the line. And yeah, I think it's just, as we hit spring, this is like peak time for plant people, where suddenly the whole world wants everyone to be growing flowers. So I think this is just a really, like, April and May are really great months for people in my position, where everyone is excited about growing stuff. And I'm just going to try to run with that energy and push as much plant science as I can while we have the momentum.
I love it. We're all excited for spring.
Uh-huh.
Are you headed to Rec Lab this weekend?
No, I am not headed to Rec Lab. Brett Schomer from our office just headed to Hobson. So I don't know, you can probably speak more, but Rec Lab is one of our statewide events where kids from all over the state come, and adults too. So kudos to the adults that do this. They go and they sleep on a gym floor, and they hang out in, I forget if it's the middle school or high school that they're at, but they do a bunch of different workshops. So they have workshops on, I saw cross stitching, there was something about native trees, there was first aid, and it's just a really fun event that gets moved around the state each year. So it's just a really awesome opportunity, and it's kind of something fun, in March when we're not able to do a lot of the bigger 4-H outdoor events. So it keeps everyone going and connected with friends.
Yeah, we've talked about Rec Lab a few times on our webinar series for those who have joined us for the few. I'm going down tomorrow, but I didn't have any kids sign up, but I'm teaching 2 workshops. We are making cookie dough out of local Montana ingredients, and the kids can eat it. We're not going to bake them. And then I'm also teaching a workshop about the online website Canva for graphic design.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will be there without unfortunately, but that's okay.
Well, that'll be fun. Yeah, I was actually just playing on Canva.
Oh, I love it.
Great. Yeah.
It's so nice.
I'm one of those, I guess, that would need to attend that particular session. That would be good. Well, Emma, are you going to be involved or participating in the thing that Scott has going in June 11th? It's a shooting sport, but it'd be a chance to expose people to the kinds of things that you have going.
Yeah, so and actually on June 11th, I am in one of my friends' weddings that day.
Oh,
But I will make a plug that we're all very excited because it is going to encompass more than it'll be shooting sports is the ones that are kind of spearheading it, but we'll also have presenters from, I think it's the Montana Department of Wildlife. Well, you talked to Scott last time. I mean, it's going to be a big festival just of all outdoor activities. So that should be a really fun event.
mm-hmm. These seeds that you talked about growing, does that mean like a kid that's in town that has a garden plot area could actually do some planting? I remember as a kid, I planted some beans out in my grandma's front yard that was dirt.
Yeah.
And so gardens can be a part of this.
Yep. So you can do it in a garden. We actually even send out small pots. So if they don't have access to a garden and they're in an apartment building or an area where the ground is too rocky to really dig into, which I know is the case in a lot of parts, you know, they can grow plants in their kitchen and still have the opportunity to see at least a little bit of where some of their food comes from.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I suppose that'd be really good for the, what do you call it? Lagoons?
Yep, the legumes. So we have a whole bunch of peas and lentils and chickpeas. So, you know, I think they're a major industry here that a lot of people have never actually seen a chickpea plant. So, yeah, we're hoping that kids enjoy growing those and maybe learn a little bit along the way.
Mm-hmm. What about some of the potato plants?
So we do not have any of the potatoes. The Seed Potato Lab here on campus is an awesome resource for anyone who wants to get disease-free potatoes. But for our shipping purposes, we couldn't get those out as easily. So we're sticking to the more of the grains and the legumes.
Okay. Well, Kim, do you have any other questions that you wanted to ask? I see the time and we need to get to maybe some other questions people have.
I don't have anything. Thanks for chatting with us, Emma.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, Emma.
Thanks so much for having me.
You betcha. And good luck at that wedding. And we'll see you around. Thank you for joining us today.
See you later.
Uh-huh. Okay, Carrie, do we have any questions?
Marsha, we don't have a lot of questions, but someone did mention that Homeward offers free financial coaching and classes.
Yes, Homeward out of Missoula. And if people are wanting financial education classes, those are excellent. They do a great job and have been doing a great job for years and years through Homeward. Any other comments or questions?
I don't see any, Marsha.
All right. Well, again, we thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week for our final session in looking at accessing a deceased person's financial accounts. And we'll end with a bang, won't we, Kim?
Absolutely. I had chat ask me where I was teaching about Canva. It's for the 4-H kids at a 4-H workshop, but I might be interested in hosting a workshop on Canva online. So if that person that asked me the question wanted to put their email in the chat, or I can ask Carrie for it later, then I can let her know if I'm doing one.
Well, I
Kim,
think
I use
Go ahead,
Oh,
Carrie.
sorry, Marsha. I use Canva for everything, Kim. I love it.
Yes. Isn't it great? Oh, okay. One sec. Let me write her. She sent me her email, so let me write that down real quick. Don't close the webinar.
Okay, I'll keep it open. And, you know, Kim, that is a really, really good idea because I bet there would be, you know, not just in your county, but across the state, people would be interested. I've heard about the program. Carrie says she loves it, but I haven't had time to take a look at it. And but I'm interested in, you know, something like that. So I would encourage you to think about doing that.
Yeah, it's
In your
super.
spare time after you get your degree program over with, okay?
Yes. Yeah, maybe after fair I can host one.
Yeah, it'd be good, something for us to look forward to next fall for sure.
Yes.
Okay, and there you saw, you know, Carrie has some background too, so you could have a guest presenter on doing a certain aspect of Canva.
There you go.
Okay, well, again, we want to thank everybody for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week. And between now and then, be sure to keep healthy and practice, you know, washing hands and all the things we're supposed to do anyway. Okay, see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Carrie.